Dewine must resign. 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 Justice for East Palestine. 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 Justice for East Palestine.
So I'm here hosting this protest out in front of the governor's mansion. So the guys are out in Columbus, Ohio today in front of Governor Mike DeWine's mansion to talk about his inaction on the issue of the East Palestine disaster. Fortunately, I couldn't be there, but here I am hosting this stream, and I got a lot of moving parts here, so I hope everybody can see it. Everything is clear. I'm going to let them do their bit. I think Warren is going to speak in a little bit, but there's a lot of issues going on with this, and the main issue we've been discussing is the lack of any tangible action on behalf of anyone. And the reason we chose Mike DeWine to protest is because he has been the one guy who has not gotten any heat from the media, from the Republicans or the Democrats, and he actually has the ability to do something. And he's not doing it. And there's a media circus right now with Trump and Pete Buttigieg and all these people, and none of them are actually doing what's necessary. They're simply taking shots at each other, and it's kind of pathetic. So here you see, I think that's Michael there with the megaphone. We got a bunch of NJP guys out, Ohio guys out, and Warren is going to speak. But I'll just shut up now for a little bit. Oh, there's a nice Ukraine flag out in front of the governor's mansion there, of course. Where's the Ohio flag? I thought, okay. See, what's funny is when I looked at Street View at the governor's mansion, there used to be an Ohio flag where that Ukraine flag is. I think that's pretty good metaphor for what the actual priorities of Mike DeWine are.
Justice for East Palestine. 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 Justice for East Palestine.
So it's got word that Warren is going to be doing a speech in a little bit. And Stryker should be joining me at some point. We'll see.
Justice for East Palestine. 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 We're going to start soon. Stay focused. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. All right. Justice for East Palestine. All right. We're here today in front of the governor's mansion of Ohio, Mike DeWine, to send one clear, simple message here. It's been 3 weeks since the train derailment in East Palestine. The governor still has not declared a state of emergency. He lied. He said that Biden rejected FEMA help. What in fact happened was, and he said it at a news conference on the 14th, actually the 12th of February, almost 2 weeks after the derailment, he said that he was asked by Biden if he needed federal help. He said, no, I'm not seeing it. We're good. So we're here today to demand justice for the people of East Palestine. We're here today to demand that Mike DeWine resign for his negligence. And why did he act with this negligence? He did it because he is in bed with Norfolk Southern. We all know that. I'm going to read off some facts. DeWine took $20,000 in his direct campaign, in his inaugural ball was paid for by Norfolk Southern. He has taken actually tens of thousands more from political action committees. Mike DeWine is in bed with Norfolk Southern. That is why he did not declare a state of emergency. It took the media 2 weeks to even notice. It was only until the National Justice Party went to the town hall in East Palestine. Who was here at that town hall? Come on, a couple of these guys. We're here. The National Justice Party put it on the map nationally. Then what do we have? We have J.D. Vance, we have Donald Trump, we have Pete Buttigieg all getting involved. Now what's happened? It's become a partisan football game. But in fact, what needs to happen is Mike DeWine needs to declare a state of emergency. He still has not done that, and that's why we're saying he has been criminally negligent of his duties towards the people of East Palestine. So we are here to demand that Mike DeWine resign from his position as governor. Resign.
DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign.
So FEMA finally got involved. And what have they done? They've sent a senior response official and regional incident management team. A guy with a clipboard. That's all that they've sent because it has not yet been declared an emergency. There are people that are 2 miles out from where this incident occurred, where this derailment occurred. People 5 miles out that have gotten no help, that have not been eligible for any help. Norfolk Southern is denying them any help. They're going to hotels and churches in the town to try to sign up for some kind of compensation. You have people in that town that cannot afford to leave. They cannot afford to leave. You have childhood homes people grew up in. Now those homes are worthless. Who wants to buy property in East Palestine? We have a situation where the groundwater has been poisoned. 40,000 dead fish, they said, and they're saying that the water is clean. It's obviously not clean. The chemicals released, World War I era chemical warfare chemicals. And Mike DeWine also signed off on that so-called controlled burn. You all saw it. Looked like a mushroom cloud over the town. Just bathed the entire town in these toxic chemicals. They signed off on it. Now they don't want to pay for any cleanup. He's saying it's on Norfolk Southern's responsibility. I'll tell you guys what I've been hearing. What we have here is people poisoned, soil poisoned, animals poisoned. We have this pathetic excuse for a governor who is basically beholden to the railroad company. We have Norfolk Southern actually offered $1 million for the cleanup. At the same time, they're offering their stockholders $2 billion in stock buybacks. Why did it take so long for them to even notice this? Why did it take so long for the national media to notice it? We know why. Charlie Kirk said why. It's because they're white people. They're white people in East Palestine. That's why it took so long for the media to notice this. Tucker Carlson's talked about that, but that's only part of the story. What people on the Republican right are covering up for, they are covering up for Mike DeWine, who is going on Fox News, getting these sweetheart interviews. They are covering for him because he is in bed with the railroad company. The Ohio GOP is in bed with Norfolk Southern. The city of Cincinnati right now is getting ready to sell their railroad to Norfolk Southern. So it's corruption. That's what it is. We have Pete Buttigieg saying that there are too many white construction workers. We all know why it took so long for Pete Buttigieg. That flag right there, that's where the money's going. Ukraine. Biden's over in Ukraine right now. Mike DeWine, just on the anniversary of the Ukraine war, Mike DeWine just marked that anniversary. At the same time, he still has not declared a state of emergency in East Palestine. DeWine banned the sale of Russian vodka when the Ukraine war broke out. The Ohio governor, these are his priorities. These are the priorities of the Democratic Party. The priorities of the Republican Party, same thing, but also in bed with Norfolk Southern. Is that right? No! So why did it take so long? You know, they're saying the water is clean to drink, it's fresh to drink. They said the same thing about Flint, Michigan. How many times has this government lied? Has the EPA come in and said, oh, it's safe to drink? What are they doing? They're basically insuring Norfolk Southern and others against liability. They're protecting themselves. They're protecting their own asses. The water, no way is the water safe to drink in East Palestine. Mike DeWine staged a photo op. They went there and they took a sip of a cup of water. I would like to see what would happen if here in Bexley there was a train derailment and a chemical spill and they did a controlled burn where there's a black cloud over this neighborhood. Do you think the response would be any different?
Yes! Yes!
It would be.
Yeah!
It would be. It was like pulling teeth to get them to do anything about East Palestine. This is a public scandal. Even after 2 weeks, 3 weeks of controversy, now in the national media, what are these people getting? Nothing. They're not getting anything. They're getting a guy with a clipboard. And more of these tests saying, oh, the water's safe to drink. Tens of thousands of fish and frogs, washing up dead. And oh, the water's safe to drink. DeWine must resign.
DeWine must resign! 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 DeWine must DeWine must resign! 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 DeWine must resign!
Guys, I would give you the facts of Norfolk Southern's corruption with the Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio and the Republican GOP. Norfolk Southern and its Political Action Committee, as I said, donated $20,000 directly to DeWine's gubernatorial campaign fund and another $165,000 to political action committees that support him. Boo! Boo! Norfolk Southern's former lobbyist, the head of their Ohio lobbying firm, once occupied DeWine's top spot as his legislative director. His firm is now at the center of what has been called the largest bribery money laundering scheme ever perpetrated against the people of the state of Ohio, a massive corruption scandal. This was DeWine's legislative director. He was the top lobbyist for Norfolk Southern in the state of Ohio. Norfolk Southern once filed 200 state-required lobbying disclosure reports. Of those 200 reports, 39 of them indicated Governor DeWine was the target. So they are directly lobbying him. To what? To do what? To make the railroads less safe. That's what they want. That's what they have a record for. DeWine once accepted $300,000 of Norfolk Southern dark money to fund his 2018 electoral campaign and an additional $100,000 for his daughter's 2019 campaign for Greene County prosecutor. This guy has taken altogether, it's almost $500,000 from Norfolk Southern. Why did they give it to him? Do you think that was just for charity? Like, why did they give that to him? Do you think they didn't expect anything from it? Of course they did. Why is nobody talking about this? Why is J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and Pete Buttigieg, why are none of them talking about this? Because they're lying. Yes. They don't want to hold this guy accountable. Mike DeWine cares more about company profits, private company profits, than he does the working class white people of East Palestine, his own people. People before profits! 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 People. They wanted this just to go away. The National Justice Party helped draw national attention to, then they're all rushing in to get in on it. To do what? To do a photo op. Even Tulsi Gabbard was there. Everybody, now it's the fashionable thing for politicians to come to East Palestine and do a photo op. But are they actually doing anything to help the people? Are they? No! And what is required for that to happen? A state of emergency has to be declared. That's what needs to happen for FEMA to get full-scale involvement. Who has the power to do it? He does. He's the only one. As the governor of this state, go on FEMA's website. It says it. The governor of the state has to declare the state of emergency. And we know why he hasn't done it. Almost $500,000 in Norfolk Southern money. DeWine must resign.
DeWine must resign! 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 DeWine must resign!
We are sick and fed up with this corruption of the Republican Party. The Republican Party, by default, you guys know East East Palestine overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump. Why do people feel in East Palestine and all over the Rust Belt and all over America that they have to vote for Donald Trump? Because they know that the other side actually hates them for being white. Pete Buttigieg, Joe Biden, they know that. So what does the Republican Party do with that? Do they actually advocate for their own constituents? Do they actually represent the interests of white people? No! What they do is they use the fact that the left is anti-white as the excuse to pretend to represent white people while they just line their own pockets. Because no one is going to hold them accountable. Well, the National Justice Party, we're going to hold them accountable.
Yes!
That's why we're here. Justice for East Palestine.
Justice for East Palestine! 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 Justice for East Palestine!
So here we are in front of this big, beautiful, luxurious mansion that Mike DeWine gets to reside in. Clean drinking water, no smell of bleach in the air. That's not the case in East Palestine. I was at the town hall the other week. The entire town smells like an indoor pool. It's worse indoors. And we got to talking to people, and the people of East Palestine said to us that they have to assume that the government hates them because of the lack of response. They said this. They're confused. They don't know why they're being ignored. They're not comfortable in their homes, but they can't afford to go anywhere because they're regular working class people. They're stuck. They're stuck, and they're left to the devices of people like Mike DeWine. People like Mike DeWine, sitting comfortably in a mansion, drinking clean water, hating the people of East Palestine. Comfy profits for Norfolk Southern, relaxed industry standards and safety regulations, comfy mansions, fancy cars, brand new Escalade in the driveway. And East Palestine gets bleach air, dead fish, and ignored. So guys, this Mike DeWine, he was a big friend of Ronald Reagan, he was a big friend of George H.W. Bush. This is a career politician Republican. He is so far in bed with the corporate interests of the Republican Party that all he has to do is show up, and the people of East Palestine and of the Rust Belt, the working class white people who know that the left hates them because they are white, they check the R box when they go to vote because they have no other choice. We are going to offer them that choice. We are going to hold the Republican Party's feet to the fire. And we're also going to hold the left, their feet to the fire. You know, where are the environmental groups in East Palestine? Where are the groups representing the people against corporate interests? We saw this kind of thing 10 years ago, 15 years ago. We don't see it anymore. Why? Woke, the woke stuff, what does that mean? Anti-white. That ideology has taken over the left. It's taken over the Democratic Party. So you don't see anybody other than the National Justice Party out here demonstrating.
Yep.
We're going to hold their feet to the fire, too.
You're muted right now.
It's our blood.
Okay, we're bringing in Stryker, but don't talk. Let Warren keep talking.
But it starts here. It starts with an emergency declaration for the people of East Palestine. Mike DeWine, right now, today, could get the kind of FEMA help that that town needs, especially with all the attention that it's getting nationally. He could do it by declaring a state of emergency. Everybody knows this. The people of East Palestine know it. The people of Ohio know it. He's not doing it. He's not doing it. He's banning Russian vodka. He's marking the anniversary of Ukraine. At the same time, Biden's doing that. Why? Because these people have a foreign policy agenda that means more to them than the working class white people in Ohio drinking clean water and having clean air. Their town was basically bombed with chemical warfare by Norfolk Southern and signed off on by Mike DeWine, and he is not declaring a state of emergency. So he must resign. This should be the end of this man's political career. This is a scandal. This is scandalous. I don't care if we're the only ones calling for it. More are going to call for it. DeWine must resign.
DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign.
President of the United States and the Governor of Ohio celebrating the anniversary of the war in Ukraine. We have $113 million going to Ukraine. I think the people of East Palestine deserve $113 billion.
Yeah!
We have multi-billion-dollar federal grants going to hotels in New York City to house illegal immigrants. $92,000 a day to house illegal immigrants. I think we should spend $92 million a day housing the people of East Palestine somewhere safe, somewhere with clean air and clean water.
Yeah!
Why is Mike DeWine forcing these people to reside somewhere that is unsafe?
Right. Yes.
It's because he hates them. Why does he hate them? Because he's anti-white.
Anti-white! 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 Anti-white!
Mike DeWine and every other Republican doesn't care about you if you're white. They pad their pockets, they live in comfy mansions, they come out, they shake your hand, they get your vote, and they do nothing for you. Stop supporting these people. Stop hurting yourself. There's a better choice. Reject them, make them work for you. Make them work for you.
Yeah! Yeah!
Mike DeWine should be poor. He should be broken. And you can make that a reality. He should pay for what he is doing to East Palestine every single day since the start of this incident that he has not declared a state of emergency. He is betraying you. He's telling you that he hates you. He's telling you that he wants you dead. He should be held accountable for that.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
DeWine must resign.
DeWine must resign!
All right. So what's up, Stryker? We got these guys out there in front of the governor's mansion. I did a brief intro, but there's a lot of moving parts to the stream. We got our guys out there in front of the governor's mansion in Columbus. You can see there is a Ukraine flag.
Is that a Ukraine flag? What the hell is that about?
And it used to be there. If you go to look at this mansion on Google Street View, that used to be the Buckeye flag, the Ohio flag. They've replaced it with the Ukraine flag. I think that's a pretty fitting metaphor.
Oh, the fact that the fact that Biden went to Kiev instead of East Palestine on President's Day tells you everything, right?
Right.
The elites of America actually care more about Ukraine. They don't care about the Ukrainians, but they care more about that issue than anything going on in the United States.
The geopolitical issue of Ukraine and the power struggle with Russia is far more important.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. This is what Michael's saying here.
Single expense would be spared to evacuate them, to house them, to feed them, and then they probably get paid for life. The people of East Palestine are white, and they will get nothing unless we force trash like Mike DeWine to do something about it. Do your job!
Do your job! Do your job! Do your job! Do your job! Do your job! Do your job! Do your job!
So yeah, I want to also say this NJP action, we planned it, started planning it after Stryker went to East Palestine and confronted Bill Johnson in the video everyone's now seen. This bullshit ADL, National Day of Hate, we have nothing to do with that. We don't endorse that. I just want to put that in before because it's utter nonsense. Let them try and frame this as something that have to do with that. Go for it. They don't want to.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I just want to get that in before.
And will fight for their interests. He has not done this. He has fought and pushed for Norfolk Southern's interest, for that fat paycheck, for that comfy lifestyle, while the people that trusted him suffer every day. Mike DeWine is a traitor. Mike DeWine is a criminal, and he must resign.
DeWine must resign! 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 DeWine must resign!
So I've got some facts here.
I've been watching Mike DeWine on news programs in the last week, and he keeps using this word. He says concerns. When he's talking about the people of East Palestine, he says, I understand people have concerns. If they have concerns, my office will talk to them. Give me your number, and we can answer your concerns. That's okay to have concerns. I understand you have concerns.
Sounds like Bill Johnson.
It is condescending. It is insulting. These are people that have lived in that town. There are people who lived in that town their entire lives. Their town is now poisoned. I mean, they don't know what's going to happen. Are they all going to get cancer? Are their children going to get cancer from this? The whole town smells like chlorine. Thousands, tens of thousands of animals dying. And he's talking about concerns. Fuck that. This guy has to go. This guy has to go.
Yeah.
If that's all the better that the Republican Party is going to do, they're going to have to do better than that. We're going to hold their feet to the fire. We're going to make sure white people in the Rust Belt get some real representation. Aren't we?
Yeah.
So a few facts
People
here.
in Ohio deserve better than this.
I'll let Warren
People
keep
in the
going.
Rust Belt deserve better than this. Towns like East Palestine built America. We all know that. And towns like East Palestine provided the men for America's wars. They are the ones, they are the taxpayers footing the bill for this phony war in Ukraine. And what do they get for it? They were initially offered $1,000 from Norfolk Southern. $1,000. With strings attached, I think. I mean, that's insulting. That's insulting. But Norfolk Southern is just another greedy corporation. Norfolk Southern has not taken an oath to uphold the Constitution and serve the people. Mike DeWine has taken that oath. He must be held accountable. He's not going to declare a state of emergency. If he's going to mumble about concerns and go on Fox News and these sweetheart interviews, and those people are still living in that poisoned town, he has to resign. This should be the end of his political career. And we're going to keep pressing on him until he does. Mike DeWine must resign.
Mike DeWine must resign. Mike DeWine must resign. Mike DeWine must resign. Must resign. DeWine must resign.
So
DeWine must resign.
I have been sending out a bunch of facts here to these guys. To say Mike DeWine is in bed with Norfolk Southern is kind of an understatement, honestly. Like, the level of connections that we have dug up So there's this article right now on levernews.com that we've referenced a few times. Listen to this. Dan McCarthy, DeWine's legislative director from January 2019 to September 2021, previously served as the president of Norfolk Southern's Ohio lobbying firm, The Success Group, from 1994 until 2020. So Mike DeWine's legislative director was the president of the lobbying group, The Success Group, for 26 years, which is Norfolk Southern's, has been their client since 2009. Okay, so not only that, yeah, you got something?
I was just going to say that the whole thing shows what contempt the elites of America have. I mean, this chemical spill is an international embarrassment. In friggin' China, where there's no regulation, supposedly, they actually don't transport vinyl chloride by rail because it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
And yet in America, they loosen up. I mean, this is also to do with Trump. For every one regulation we pass, we repeal two. Well, what if some of those regulations are necessary?
Right.
This whole thing, the left is not going to do much. They don't care because they hold the people. They see this as MAGA country. They hold them in contempt. And then the right, they're in the pocket of big business. So they're going to literally cause the problem. So, this goes to show you need to have real representation, people that will represent your interests in good faith, or this is going to keep happening.
Right, yeah. So I think Warren has got some stuff here.
From 1994 until 2020. 94 to 2020. This guy, Dan McCarthy, was the president of Norfolk Southern's Ohio lobbying firm. The Success Group has been on retainer for Norfolk Southern since at least 2009, according to Ohio lobbying records. The Success Group, this lobbying firm, successfully blocked state legislation under DeWine's watch. It would have increased safety on railroads. This is what the records show. The lobbyists reported lobbying last year on a bill to mandate a minimum of 2-person train crews on all trains. The legislation died at the end of the year when the previous legislative session came to a close. So this Success Group, with this guy Dan McCarthy, is relentlessly lobbying the state government of Ohio to relax safety standards on trains with Norfolk Southern. And get this, these same lobbyists were successful in making this proposed $1.6 billion sale of the city of Cincinnati's publicly owned railroad to Norfolk Southern, and that's still going on right now. DeWine has not raised any concerns about this privatization effort. This is what the Republican Party does. They want to privatize it. They don't care about the people. All they care about are moneyed interests, big business. And also, of course, we can't leave Norfolk Southern out of this. As I said, over $2 billion in stock buybacks, $1 million offered to the people of East Palestine. It's insane, it's ridiculous, it's insulting. This should be the end of this man's political career.
One thing that really nobody talks about is, well, we've seen a lot of, in the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of back and forth with politicians. We've seen Pete Buttigieg goes to East Palestine and he blames Trump for what happened. Trump blames Democrats, or at least says Democrats aren't going. But what Pete Buttigieg says when they ask him, you've been criticizing Trump, what can Trump do to help? And he's like, well, Trump can admit that he was wrong, that it was his fault for whatever deregulation they're blaming him for. But I don't see him jumping up to say we're going to put that regulation back in place. So they're just playing, and they're just batting this football around without anybody actually saying, let's actually, re-regulate mean, who cares? At some point, the blame game, who gives a shit? It happened. Now what are you going to do?
But Buttigieg actually was being, some journalist was asking him a question, and he was like complaining that Biden was like making him hold the flaming bag of dog shit.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, Biden's out there on vacation in Eastern Europe while sending me to go and take all the arrows.
Yeah, there was a Politico article also that clearly was written by somebody who'd been in contact with Buttigieg's like team or his entourage or his people or whatever, because it was very sympathetic to him, and it was complaining about how like basically the administration left him out hanging out to dry on this. Like they let him take all the heat. And it's kind of like, this is, I guess, interesting to people that read newspapers like Politico, like DC insider types, like people that, you know, are interested in that kind of gossip in DC and things like that. But this isn't interesting to most people. Most people don't give a shit about the sort of soap opera between Biden and Buttigieg and Donald Trump or whatever. They just want something to actually happen here. So it's utter nonsense that this is like a personality issue, that Pete Buttigieg is mad that his personal ambitions, or he feels personally slighted by this stuff. Let's see what they do.
For East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
So yeah.
Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
So there's a lot more. I mean, there's a ton more things on Mike DeWine. Like, Mike DeWine also had been involved in, like, he basically is just an energy industry shill. So, he talks about how during his time at the Success Group, Dan McCarthy, DeWine's legislative director, founded a dark money group called Partners for Progress. It was at the center of a bribery scandal involving Ohio's main nuclear power operator, First Energy. First Energy was criminally charged in 2020 for funneling tens of millions of dollars into dark money groups, including Partners for Progress. Some of these funds, federal prosecutors alleged, were bribes to get legislators to bail out First Energy's struggling plants. So basically, this whole DeWine, and this I'm sure is not unique for governors or state governments in America, that they're just in the pocket of these energy companies, and that they're not gonna, and it's not even, you know, at some point it's not even just like Norfolk Southern either. It's like, because it doesn't cost Norfolk Southern anything for the federal government to go and send emergency aid to the town. So why aren't they doing it?
Well, here's something new that someone sent me. Governor Reeves requests emergency federal aid for water crisis. This is in Jackson, Mississippi, where the water is toxic. Governor Tate Reeves, a Republican, last summer asked the federal government to send emergency support. Why haven't they done that in Ohio? That is a big question. I mean, they declare states of emergency over anything. It seems like they're trying to perhaps do a little bit of public relations work for the railroad company. They don't want this to stay in the headlines. Right. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I think this is about. They want this to go away and be forgotten because it's bad publicity for Norfolk Southern.
Right. Yeah, I mean that would seem to be one possible motivation, but because it's like, if it's just money, it can't just be money. It has to be other things too.
Yeah.
Like because it doesn't cost Norfolk Southern for the federal government to do something here. Like
but it is bad publicity. It's politically bad for them.
Yes.
Because, you know, they're in negotiations to buy up a ton of different railways,
including one in Cincinnati.
Right.
Including the public rail in Cincinnati.
So they don't want to be known as the company that has to get federal aid mustered to the town because of their fuck-ups.
It's too late, though. I mean, this shit is out of the bag. What's interesting now is that it seems like, you know, and it's interesting how the politicians in their going back and forth, you know, between blaming Buttigieg or blaming Trump or blaming whoever, it's like they're just all missing the point. Like, we did a long segment on this yesterday on Tedious a very long segment on like how this whole back and forth, this dog and pony show is meant to get people invested on one side or the other. You want to defend Trump, you want to defend the Democrats, you want to take shots at Trump, you want to take shots at this guy. None of it, and it's actually gotten so bad that even Politico actually wrote an article about what a circus it was and how it was distracting and keeping anything from getting done. Even they noticed it. So at this point, though, like there's no putting this cat back in the bag. So you might as well do it now. And as I said, my main concern all along has been we simply don't know how safe it is or is not to breathe the air or drink the water in that town.
Right, so get everyone out of there.
Those people don't need an option of someplace else to go.
Right.
They can house illegal immigrants in New York City. They can
No,
house them in
in
hotels.
in Ohio, DeWine houses refugees from Afghanistan and Ukraine. Actively, this is the Republican, actively chooses to be part of the refugee resettlement program in Ohio, sets aside tons of private and federal money to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an embarrassment. It's a disgrace. And if you have Republicans representing you, they're like, oh, just bootstrap your way out of an ecological disaster. You're still paying federal taxes. If you don't use that federal money, illegal aliens will. That's how this works.
Yes. So there's.
What are you waiting for? 3 weeks since the train derailment in East Palestine, and you haven't done your job. You haven't done it because you've taken about $500,000 from Norfolk Southern, because the Ohio GOP is in bed with Norfolk Southern. Norfolk Southern is just a greedy corporation. All they're trying to do is meet their bottom line. They're guilty for this, and they need to pay for it. But this man is negligent of his duty. He is betraying his oath of office. We're not going to let him get away with it. No! We're going to hold him accountable. These Republicans, these big business cucks, we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to make them pay. They're going to pay for what they've done to white people all over the Rust Belt, all over the state of Ohio.
You want to send something to Warren, Mike?
Yeah.
2020 article. Governor Mike DeWine declares racism a public health emergency.
Okay.
Look at this.
Yeah, I'm
Look
like
at the chat.
okay. I got it.
Racism is a public health emergency. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sending this to our guy on the ground then.
Here, I'm going to come to East Palestine. I'm going to drink a cup of the water. See, it's safe. If you have any concerns, my PR, the phone number for my public relations office.
Ha! So yeah, so
You can't. I mean, this is the satire writes itself.
yes. Yes. I mean, it's absurd. I don't want to like. I could bring that up, but I mean, I guess I don't know. I'll just bring it up quickly. Let's see if I do that. There it is. There's the State House News Bureau. DeWine says racism, public health crisis, and there he is.
They're a terrible company. They have blood on their hands. But this man is using his high office that he was elected.
Yeah, I can't wait for Warren to get the message on this one. Yeah.
Oh man.
So yeah, we're kind of just, Stryker and I are kind of the peanut gallery here. Neither of us could make it out to this protest.
Right.
It was kind of a far drive for me, and but we were glad everybody was on such short notice able to get out there and do this. I'm actually jealous. I want to be there right now.
Yeah, that looks fun.
It is fun. I want to get in that bullhorn and scream on this guy. Like that's like one of my favorite things to do.
He's in the house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe he is in there, yeah. I mean, where else would he be? He has a private house someplace, but I don't know that he's there. It's not clear if he's there or not, but like that's basically where he probably is. I don't see any reason for him not to be there.
NJP! NJP!
There is an article that we found from about a year ago that says DeWine is decided to mostly reside in that house. And why wouldn't you? I mean, that place looks freaking nice. I mean, are you kidding me? That's. I mean, his private house is probably just as good, but you know, this way you don't have to. You know, it's just a few blocks from the offices in downtown Columbus here.
Familiar with the water crisis in Flint, Michigan. They tried to say that the water in Flint, Michigan was safe to drink, just like they're doing in East Palestine right now. Deservedly, Flint, Michigan had a state of emergency declared, and they got a lot of help, I'm sure billions of dollars, to fix their infrastructure. What they did with that money, I don't know, but they had the opportunity. Flint, Michigan is overwhelmingly black. East Palestine is overwhelmingly white. So I ask, do white people not have rights? Do white people not deserve help from the federal government? Why does the federal government treat them this way? Does the federal government hate white people? Yes. Whites have rights.
I mean, you can't deny that there's a racial angle when something made up like racism is declared a public emergency by the governor,
Right?
who's a Republican. He's a Republican doing this.
Right, and when
Republican.
it is glaringly obvious also when you do just get like there's the Flint crisis, there's the Mississippi crisis you mentioned, like these things these are black involved things and they get the emergency aid. So again, the United States government doesn't lack for money. I mean, this government, the federal government, has basically spews money all over the place to meet all different kinds of agendas. And so whenever you hear politicians on either side, like clutch pearls over budgets and money, you know it's something that they just don't want to do. It's not about
It's always in the context of helping white people.
Yeah.
White working people.
Yeah. That they
It's
just
always
don't,
in that context.
Yeah. And at some point,
You're never going to see them talk about cutting money to things like, various things that serve black people, like, for example, African American Museum or something like that, right? They would never talk about shutting that down.
Right. And of course, you know,
or the Holocaust Museum. How much do they waste building Holocaust?
I wonder how much Mike DeWine has put into Holocaust museums. But they also there's this. It almost feels like it's sort of malicious because at this point, wouldn't it be easier just to give East Palestine some money and just
there is an element of simple ideological contempt.
Yeah.
Like the people in power in America want the people of East Palestine to suffer.
Yeah.
They want them to suffer. Okay? They actually believe that they deserve what they get. It's an 80% Trump voting district.
Right.
So that's one angle. The next angle is that they're kind of unreconstructed working class whites that don't necessarily agree with the vast majority of tenets that
they don't trust that these people believe they're crap. And, you know, they kind of went, like Joy Behar said it, and a few other media figures have been saying it, that, like, and you're seeing a lot of editorial political cartoons coming out from, like, Democratic political cartoonists that are making the point about Trump deregulated some random thing, and, like, and then, like, you deserve this because you voted for him.
Right.
Well, that's like... Now, that's not just anti-Trump malice. That's like anti-white malice, because the reason that they had malice against Trump was because they saw him representing these people. They saw Trump, like these people that are saying these things, they see Trump as a representative of these people. Now, that's, from our point of view, is not accurate. Trump has not done a good job representing these people, but that's why Trump was hated. And so now it's like a feedback loop. Like, look, they voted for Trump. Oh, the train derailed. Well, they can just sit there and suck in toxic gas. As if this is what these people actually voted for when they voted for Trump. Nobody voted for that. And it's also like, and again, if it's Trump's fault, Re-regulate. Put the regulation back in place. Nobody's talking about doing that.
Well, in the context of DeWine, somebody who does the theatrical, ideological motion of declaring critical race theory idea that racism is a public health emergency. That's pure critical race theory.
Yeah.
That coincided, by the way. He did this in support of the George Floyd rioters, by the way. Someone like that simply can't be trusted to treat their white constituents equally to their non-white ones. Because if you play to an ideology like this, you simply can't be trusted to treat everybody the same, because it shows that you believe in the major tenets of critical race theory.
Yeah.
He also was making the point that blacks and other non-whites had higher rates of COVID hospitalization, things like that. Like, even if true, I hope this didn't lead to discrimination in the hospitals against whites that we saw across the country during COVID.
Right.
People that wanted to get monoclonal antibodies were told they didn't apply because of their race.
Right.
They could not get it because of their race. I mean, was this happening in Ohio? I'd like to look it up. I bet it was.
Very interesting. I've got one little clip here I'm going to share. I'm going to mute this for a second. I'm going to share this clip. This is Mike DeWine from a press conference on the 17th. So a little bit over 8 days ago. And this is after you had gone to East Palestine. And listen to what he says. This is 1 minute clip.
Senator Vance was on Fox News critical of the Biden administration, and even some Democrats have been critical of the Biden administration response. Are you satisfied with the Biden administration response, and is there anything you'd like to see more out of the administration as far as help like this?
Look, our Ohio EPA works with the U.S. EPA. These are the principal people involved. The federal government is conducting an investigation to determine why this wreck occurred, this crash occurred. We await that. And certainly we'll be interested in seeing what is going on. Look, the president called me and said, anything you need. I have not called him back after that conversation. I will not hesitate to do that if we're seeing a problem or anything, but I'm not seeing it.
So he's lying. He's not seeing a problem. He's just lying. He is actually right there covering for the railroad company. He's just running cover for the railroad company. That idea, that was a clip from the 17th, so that would have been a week ago yesterday, after the town hall meeting.
I don't see a problem.
Racism
is a real problem. A chemical spill isn't.
Yeah. Right. I don't see the problem. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I think Warren's on the bullhorn. Let's hear what he said.
A bloody sponge to absorb Russia, which they think is their geopolitical enemy. We do not want a war with Russia. We do not want a war with China. What we want is some justice here in our own country.
Yes.
They say this is a battle between democracy and autocracy. Well, what the hell do you call it? Where the governor has a sweetheart deal with a company like Norfolk Southern, and he doesn't do his job, and he doesn't declare a state of emergency, and he has reporters arrested, and they try to break down a town hall. No justice for the people of East Palestine. No justice for the people of the Rust Belt. You vote and you vote and you vote, and you get the same rotten politicians over and over again. Is that democracy?
No!
This is an autocracy. It's an autocracy of money.
This is
It's
good
an
stuff.
oligarchy. It's a plutocracy. Mike DeWine is the representative of that. But that's what that flag represents, the Ukrainian flag. They put it up. Why doesn't Mike DeWine go fight in Ukraine? Send his kids to go fight in Ukraine. It's so important to you, you go fight in Ukraine. Don't take our tax dollars for your bloody war. They did the same thing to Afghanistan in the 1980s. They used Afghanistan as a buffer state to try to contain Russia. What did it do to Afghanistan? It destroyed the country. Yeah. Afghanistan was destroyed. Ukraine is being destroyed by the same people who hold up the Ukrainian flag. What was that?
So, yeah.
Why doesn't Mike DeWine actually focus a little bit
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of connectivity problems there.
Banning
It's still
Russian
going.
vodka in the state of Ohio, and he's giving nothing to these people. Mike DeWine sucks. Mike DeWine sucks. Mike DeWine sucks.
You know, it is funny that
Mike
DeWine is actually not focused on in the media very much relating to this disaster.
No.
There's a lot of Donald Trump and Pete Buttigieg and such. I don't really see much criticism of DeWine here, but he's like the one guy that has the ability to do the most.
Yeah.
This is something I noticed also about the way they treat these people.
flag up. Where's the Norfolk Southern flag? What does he have an American flag up for? You gotta have the Ukrainian flag and the Norfolk Southern flag, or better yet, the Israeli flag and the Norfolk Southern flag. Who does this guy represent? Who does he think he's representing? His constituents are the shareholders of Norfolk Southern who got this $2 billion buyback. That's who his constituents are. His constituents are not the people, the white working class.
We got a lot of people watching.
Good.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on Odyssey and a lot of people on TV.
Let me show you some tweets from Mike DeWine, 2020. Race is indisputably a factor in all kinds of health, education, and economic disparities. The divisions of race have plagued this country since its inception. While there are no simple solutions, we must be a positive voice in advancing change for all who are marginalized. This is the Republican. This is the Republican in a ruby red state, which Ohio is at this point.
Yeah.
This is what the Republican is saying. It says here, the legislature and I have, in a bipartisan way, laid down a foundation. Is it enough? No. But this legislature and I have worked to do things that will make a difference. Still, we must go further, and I will be reaching out to the General Assembly to work on these issues. We're going to work together on the problem of lead paint that is poisoning our children. We're going to continue to reduce infant mortality and maternal mortality, especially in the African American community. So he's telling, what is the difference between having lead paint in your apartment and having vinyl chloride gas in your apartment? What is the difference here?
Right.
Why is one an emergency and not the other?
Right.
And he says it, especially in the African. What does race have to do with it? What if a white person has lead paint in their house?
Right. Do they get
why?
state
What
aid
the
to get
hell
rid
does
of
this
that?
have to fucking
And
do
let's
with
be honest. Look, you were there.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell good there.
Oh,
And it's,
dude,
it
I've
can't
been
be
a
good
little,
for you.
I've been a little off since being there, personally.
Well,
now, I don't
all I'm
know.
saying-
It could be. I think it was just a coincidence because Michael McEvitt had something and I was next to him. So, but yeah, no,
But
there's
nonetheless-
the air is dirty there.
Nonetheless, you're going to develop a scratchy throat and itchy eyes. At the very least, there's people complaining of that. If you're in that 24/7, it's worse when you're indoors. If you're living in that constantly, it is going to start irritating you. It's going to start causing you problems. You're going to start having respiratory problems. You're going to start having skin rashes. There are people that have reported these symptoms. And what did Bill Johnson say? I mean, you were there.
Yeah.
What did Bill Johnson say? He said, keep a journal of your symptoms and
Yeah.
call my office.
He basically said, my comment box will be open, and he said, I'll give you a number, call this number. And then some lady stood up, and she's like, when I call your number, you're just going to tell me to call another number.
It's true.
They know the score. They know the score. Okay? They know what's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, they feel powerless, the people there.
Right. So here's Bill Johnson's telephone line here. That's Bill Johnson's telephone line. It says suggestion box there, right? Yeah. Okay.
They want a family. They want a home. Look at the homes and the families in East Palestine to see what that.
Oh, we got Carson here. This is our guy from Tennessee who was at the drag protest.
Good for him.
Yeah.
A new way of thinking is growing that values family and honor more than money.
Yeah!
But that's not what's in power now.
No!
The National Justice Party is a group of individuals who do value real on-the-ground results far more than they do money. How rare is that? Democrats have a blatant anti-white agenda, and you can see that on the hand across the country. While conservatives have a more implicit anti-white agenda. An anti-white agenda of ignoring the suffering on the ground of their constituents and embracing the money from the corporations that cause that very suffering.
Yeah!
No more. East Palestine is but a glimpse into what conservative rule does.
That's true.
It's time to set aside decades of expectations that have been failed. The expectations that common people put onto the Conservative Party to represent the most basic of interests. They do not deliver, and they haven't delivered for a long, long time. They haven't delivered ever. So
That's
who
good
can
stuff.
deliver? NJP! 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 NJP!
Yeah, they did a really good job in Tennessee. Basically ran the trannies out of town.
Yeah.
The entire town they kind of led them to basically expel this bar.
Yeah.
This leftist bar.
And they started
That's still
doing. Let's listen to what he's saying. I've got a good story about that.
There is only one answer. NJP!
So after they did that, the cops actually did what you've talked about. They did kind of lawfare against that bar. They did it for underage drinking or something like that. They
Yeah.
did them for that. Yeah.
Well, they got evicted because guess what? If you have protesters outside of your property and you're a landlord, it doesn't matter what you think. If you're a landlord, you don't want that kind of attention.
No.
And
No.
so they evicted the leftist bar, and now they're begging on the internet for money to go to somewhere else. So small victories. I mean,
The Justice Party is of the people, we are for the people, and we show up for the people. Unlike our so-called elected officials. Where are they? Why do they do nothing? We know the answer. We've said the answer. They do it to line their pockets, and they do it because they hate white people.
So yeah, what were you saying, Striker?
I was saying that the grassroots movement against trans ideology is succeeding.
Yes.
Because you see now that Jews are starting to retreat from the New York Times, for example, is vowing that they're going to publish more critical articles about transgenderism. They have actually. And the people that are rising up against them are actually the true believing goys. So the Jews are retreating.
Which is a
tactical retreat.
tiny group of people. I mean, it's a
It is,
minuscule
but
group
well,
of people.
they're minuscule in the national sense, but there's a lot of them in the New York Times.
Oh yeah, there are a
itself.
lot of them in power. Yes. Absolutely.
And basically the Jewish editor that is saying this told the younger Gentile journalists that are outraged at the anti-trans coverage, told them to go fuck themselves. So Jews are tactically retreating. I mean, also, there's another aspect here, which is that it's causing America a lot of problems domestically, but also internationally. There's not one Putin speech that doesn't mention transgenderism as a reason for going to war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Countries like Hungary or Japan, even they're criticizing some low-level Democrats like AOC are mad at the Japanese government for not putting inserting gay rights into the Constitution fast enough. So this is a major problem for the U.S. government. They have no choice but to retreat on the trans issue just for now. Right.
So I just have an update from Warren. This street corner is kind of dead. It is a street corner in a pretty wealthy part of Columbus, and they got word that DeWine is not there. So they're gonna move the protest to another location. They're gonna pack it up here and go to another location. So we're gonna pause the stream for now. We're gonna stop the stream for now, and we will start it up again when they get to the new location that they're going to. Obviously, I'm not gonna reveal what that is on the stream, but yeah, it'll be fun. So they're going to they're gonna go to another location. So we'll be starting up again in about an hour. So keep your eye on this space. So let me just see if they're ready to stop yet. But yeah, it looks like they're wrapping up. So we're gonna stop now, and we'll be back in a little bit when they get to the next location that they're going to. Okay, we're back. We are back, and the crew is heading towards another mansion in a mysterious part of Ohio. And who might be that lives there? Oh man, I'm gonna have to mute because I had the Odyssey going. All right, Odyssey just came back live. Everything's back live.
Back.
So yeah, put that out on Telegram that we're back live.
I put it out here. I'll share it on the.
Share it on the NJP channel.
Yeah.
And I'll share it from there. So yeah, we're back live. The guys are walking. They're going to DeWine's other mansion, and they're gonna have some words, and we'll see how that goes. Look at the long shadows on the road. So yeah. So we were at Mike DeWine's mansion in Columbus. Now they're at another mansion. Now in Ohio, there is a Ohio state constitutional law that allows you to picket a state official's home. So it's this. So yeah. People watching on TRS, if it craps out, you can check the Odyssey link. It's in the comments. If it craps out, that message won't matter. But I'm back with Stryker, so here we are at DeWine's mansion. It's kind of funny, actually. It's kind of ballsy. I mean, it's going right at him, you know?
Yeah.
Again, nothing to do with the ADL's fake gay op, obviously bogus crap about the Day of Hate. This has nothing to do with that. If they want to accuse it of that, go for it. It's not going to turn out well.
Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
All of the
Justice for East Palestine.
What do you got?
No. I was just saying, like, you're allowed to do this.
Yes, this is legal. This is specifically legal in the state of Ohio. There's a constitutional amendment or a law that says that you are allowed to do this.
Yeah.
That street they're on is not a private driveway. That's a public street.
Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
And hey, look, if you want to be governor, this is what you sign up for, you know? Like you don't get to have a private dinner on a Saturday night. Sorry, buddy.
Well, if you say racism is a public emergency, then you also have to declare, what about the people in East Palestine? They can't have dinner without worrying about chemicals in their water and their air.
Nothing is going to taste right anyway either.
Right. They can't, they can't, like, they can't enjoy their weekend.
Right.
Why should he?
Again, it's also just like, you're the governor. Like, your citizens here are going to go and, they're going to take it to you. Like, that's just what it's going to be.
Right.
It's what you sign up for when you want to be a public official. You have to deal with the public.
Yeah.
So I don't feel bad. There's Alan.
Go, Alan.
Yeah. Get Alan on the bullhorn, man.
Get Alan on the bullhorn.
All right, we're outside the governor's mansion here.
Let me turn it up.
Out in Centerville, to remind him that he needs to declare a state of emergency in East Palestine, Ohio, from the train derailment that was caused by Norfolk Southern. We are out here to demand that Governor DeWine do his job and declare a state of emergency and bring FEMA in full scale, or else resign from his position as governor. He waited 2 weeks before he even mentioned FEMA. He said in a news conference on the 14th of February that President Biden had reached out to him and he told him no, he didn't need federal assistance, that he was not seeing a problem. He has said the water was safe to drink. The water is not safe to drink. 40,000 fish have died in that town. The soil is contaminated. The water is contaminated. The people are dealing with rashes and sickness. Their pets are dying, and they have gotten no help. They have gotten no support. All he does is go on Fox News and talk about concerns. If they have concerns, they can talk to him. Well, we know that Norfolk Southern has contributed almost a $500,000 to
let's get that one
Mike
right.
DeWine's own campaign and to PACs associated with him. We know that Norfolk Southern's top lobbyist was his legislative director for years. So what's going on? We need to find this out. Is the governor right now tonight having dinner with Norfolk Southern lobbyists? Are they discussing the possible fallout of the incident?
We won't block the driveway if the Norfolk Southern lobbyist needs to pull up. We'll get out of the way for him.
Norfolk Southern own the governor of Ohio. The people in East Palestine deserve better than this. The people of East Palestine deserve a governor who will do his job. So we are calling on Governor DeWine to either do his job, declare a state of emergency, or else resign. DeWine must 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 resign.
This is awesome. I'm actually liking it. This is good stuff.
DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign.
He's in one of those two houses. The one they were at before or this one. So, you know, he's hearing this one way or the other.
DeWine must resign. 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 We have people here that were at the town hall in East Palestine where they tried to shut it down, and our people heard what was said at that town hall. We have people, friends of ours, all around that town. They're worried about their kids. They're worried about their pets. They're worried about themselves. What have they been saying? They've been saying that it was like pulling teeth to get the governor to pay any attention to this crisis there. They are saying that he is negligent in his duty in not declaring a state of emergency. And they're saying that he did this because the governor of Ohio is in bed with Norfolk Southern. We need a state of emergency in East Palestine. The people there are getting sick. The water and the soil are contaminated. We need a state of emergency. We need FEMA to come in full scale to help out the people of East Palestine. And what we need to know is, why has it taken so long to even talk about FEMA? It wasn't until that town hall meeting that anybody talked about bringing in FEMA. At that point, Congressman Bill Johnson was confronted by a member of the National Justice Party on why FEMA was not coming in. He said it was not necessary. The next day he reversed his position and called for FEMA to come in. So we want to know, why is FEMA not in? Why is there no state of emergency? And what is the relationship between Governor DeWine and Norfolk Southern? And Norfolk Southern's lobbyists? Is the governor of Ohio owned by Norfolk Southern? Is it because Norfolk Southern has given so much in hundreds of thousands of dollars to PACs to support the Ohio GOP, to support politicians in Ohio? Is that the reason why Governor DeWine did not declare a state of emergency sooner? And he still has not declared a state of emergency. So Governor DeWine, our message to you is, you have until 1 month after the incident, the 4th of March, to declare a state of emergency. You need to declare a state of emergency for the people of East Palestine.
I didn't know that. If that's true, that's wild.
They need. You have people living a
He's just trying to
mile,
wait
2
this
miles
one
outside
out,
of
this
town.
asshole.
Yeah.
Wow, what a...
Cannot get assistance. They do not qualify for the meager assistance that Norfolk Southern is offering them. And why? Because they are a mile or 2 miles outside. There are people that have not had their hotel costs reimbursed. There are people that cannot leave the town. They are in danger. Their lives are in danger. Their children are in danger. They don't know what's going on. It feels like a cover-up. It feels like corruption. So please, Governor DeWine, you need to either do your job, declare a state of emergency, bring FEMA into East Palestine full scale, not just the guy with a clipboard that they brought in so far.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to have the balls to actually try and send cops to break this up. That would look really bad.
Or Governor DeWine needs to resign, and he needs to give back all the money that Norfolk Southern has given him over the years.
That's right.
For East Palestine.
Justice for East Palestine.
Justice
So
for
here's
East
a
Palestine.
propaganda flyer we had put together for this.
Justice for East Palestine.
There's DeWine, and here's some facts.
Justice for East Palestine.
Here's some facts.
Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
Norfolk
Justice
Southern
for East Palestine.
and its PAC donated
Justice for East
$20,000
Palestine.
directly to DeWine's
Justice for East
gubernatorial
Palestine.
campaign.
Justice for East
Another
Palestine.
$165,000 to PACs that support him.
Justice for
Norfolk
East
Southern's
Palestine.
former lobbyists, we
Justice
talked about
for
that.
East Palestine.
Norfolk Southern filed the 200 state required lobbying disclosure. 39 of them indicated DeWine was the target. Defeating legislation that made railroads safer was their goal. DeWine accepted $300 of Norfolk Southern dark money for his 2018
Governor DeWine
campaign.
has a very close relationship with Norfolk Southern's
He's going to
lobbyists.
repeat some of this stuff.
Dan McCarthy, if you're in there.
Ah!
Dan McCarthy,
Ah!
you were DeWine's legislative director from 2019 to September 2021, and you were the president of Norfolk Southern's Ohio lobbying firm, the Success Group, from 1994 until 2020. The Success Group, this lobbying firm of Norfolk Southern's, has been on retainer since at least 2009, according to Ohio lobbying records. So the Success Group, this lobbying arm of Norfolk Southern, has been tremendously successful in getting legislation, railroad safety legislation, blocked. This is not right. This is not right. It is not right for a man who is a top lobbyist of Norfolk Southern to be the governor's legislative director. That is not right. That is corruption. And for him to wait weeks and weeks and weeks while those people are getting no help, that stinks of corruption. It stinks of corruption. We need the governor to declare a state of emergency, get the FEMA help that that town deserves, that those people deserve, or resign from office.
Oh, yeah. Is Alan going to go? Nice. Nice.
We know that the disaster in East Palestine is like an inconvenience for you. It's a situation where you like to get back to business as usual, doing the bidding of your corporate sponsors and your donors. If this had happened, if there had been a hazmat disaster with a toxic cloud blowing into Bixley, I wonder how different the response would have been from you.
Bexley's a neighborhood in Columbus where the mansion is.
Polluted, your mansion, you can
Also
leave your
a
mansion
very
in
Jewish
Bexley
neighborhood.
and come out here to your country estate and weather the storm here. Well, the people of East Palestine don't have country estates, most of them, to run to. They're stuck there. You made a big show about drinking the water. You drank a glass of water. Are you willing to drink it for a week, for a month, for 5 years? That's the water those people will be drinking for the rest of their lives, most of them. And you know, this kind of political theater that you're so adept at, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it.
Good material.
You know, you just want to keep the natives are restless right now, and you want to keep the Indians whooping and hollering on the reservation. You don't want them to turn to another party. You don't want them to abandon the GOP and the Democrats also, for that matter. But those days are over. The NJP is providing leadership to the white working class, and we're going to speak up for them everywhere, all the time, anytime, any place. We're going to speak up for them, and we're not going to be like bamboozled into getting quiet so you can go back to business as usual.
That's good. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice one.
So, Governor DeWine, we have some questions. Is it not true Norfolk Southern and its PAC gave $20,000 directly to your gubernatorial campaign, including to pay for your inaugural ball, and another $165,000 to PACs that support you? Is it not true what I said about
Warren has that
former
flyer. I
legislative
just showed.
director was
He's
your
reading
top,
from that, yeah.
who was their
Yeah.
top lobbyist, and he was your legislative director. You know, that firm, the Success Group, is now the center of what has been called the largest bribery, money laundering scheme ever perpetrated against the people of the state of Ohio. That stinks. And of the 200 state-required lobbying disclosure reports that Norfolk Southern was forced to disclose, 39 of them indicated that you, Governor DeWine, were the target of their lobbying. They were lobbying you. 39 separate lobbying cases here. What were they lobbying you about? Why would they give you all this money if they didn't expect something in return? They were trying to defeat legislation that made the railroad safer. This is what Norfolk Southern does. And is it not true, Governor DeWine, that you have accepted $300,000 of Norfolk Southern dark money to fund your 2018 electoral campaign, and another $100,000 for your daughter's 2019 campaign to become prosecutor of Greene County? Do you care more about corporate profits and the shareholders of Norfolk Southern than you care about the people of East Palestine? Because that is the message that you are sending right now. Get FEMA in full scale, declare a state of emergency. You go on FEMA's website, it says the governor has to declare the state of emergency. Not Biden, the governor has to do it. We are asking you, Governor DeWine, declare a state of emergency or else resign from your office. Resign as governor, because you cannot discharge your duties that you have sworn an oath to uphold. If you cannot discharge those duties because of a conflict of interest, because of business dealings with Norfolk Southern, because of the money you've taken from their campaigns, almost $500,000, then you need to step down and resign and let someone who can actually get the job done take your place. DeWine must resign.
DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign.
Watch it, watch it.
DeWine must resign. 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 DeWine must resign.
Yeah. It looks like they're just gonna hide in the house until they go away. There's not gonna be any. Nobody's gonna come out from that house. No one's gonna be, you know. But good for them. This is great. This is fantastic.
Who will put people over profits?
People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits.
People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over
I
profits.
sent a message real quick.
People over profits. 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 People over profits.
This is good stuff. I don't know. I don't really have much to add. I'm just like watching these guys. I'm very proud of them. I wish I was there.
Yep.
I wish I was there, but you know, for me, it was a very long drive. You had things we had, you know, not everyone can always be everywhere.
I had an important obligation today. But
Not everybody can always be everywhere, which is why we want to grow the party and everything. If my back wasn't busted, I'll tell you what, I would be there because I love nothing more.
Oh,
than
this
going
is
and doing
fucking
this stuff.
fun.
To help
Yeah.
your constituents, but you choose not to. Why? FEMA has a program. FEMA has a disaster unemployment assistance program. If you, Governor DeWine, declared
That's
an
a great
emergency,
point.
then
Yeah.
the president could also declare a presidential emergency and get the people what they need. They could get some real help. It
The
is
unemployment
within your
assistance is
power.
huge.
It is within the power of this system. So why isn't it happening? Why are the people on the ground forced to suffer under your leadership? You are not doing your job. It's really quite simple. The people have basic expectations based on the oaths that you gave. Follow your oath, protect your constituents, or you must resign. DeWine must resign! DeWine must resign! DeWine must resign! DeWine must resign!
The unemployment point, I'm glad he brought that up because that's something that could happen to people in that town if they have to move away or go, that they might lose days of work. And I was saying that you know, if they do that, I think there is a legal protection for their jobs, and they also can get some money.
Right.
So there you go. Like there's another.
Oh, you
another
can't
thing.
have McDonald's closing. No. You can't have McDonald's in the town close. Yeah. That's
or
socialist.
whatever else.
Well,
I love.
the corporations that you serve, while you in Norfolk Southern get rich, your constituents, Americans, get poisoned. Where is justice? What are people expected to do if their government will not help them? If the man they elected to help them stands by and does nothing, where do you expect them to turn? The tide is shifting. Now, real representation is beginning to step forward. Now, the National Justice Party steps forward where you have failed. NJP! NJP! NJP!
Nice.
NJP! 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 NJP!
I'm just really proud of everyone, man. This is great.
Yeah.
This is really good. Good for them. I wish I was there. I want to be yelling at this guy myself.
Yeah, me too.
Why you have taken so much money from them over the years? What was it for? We want to know. The people of Ohio want to know. The people of the United States want to know. Why have you accepted all this money from Norfolk Southern? Was it just a gift? Was it just out of the goodness of their hearts, or did they expect something in return? And are they getting what they expected in return? That you did not embarrass them, that you did not declare a FEMA emergency, that you did not bring in the
That's right.
assistance
That's
from the
exactly what
federal
you were
government.
saying.
We want to know why.
They would be embarrassed
On February 14th,
by the state of
at a
emergency.
press conference, you said that President Biden called you and asked if you needed assistance, and you did not return his call, and you said you would if you were seeing a problem, but you're not seeing a problem. How could you have not seen a problem? On February 14th, this is almost 2 weeks after the derailment happened. That town, those poor people had a black cloud of poison chemicals over their town. It bathed everything for miles around in poisonous chemicals, toxic chemicals, carcinogens that they now have to live with. Their town has been destroyed. And you said that you're not seeing a problem, and you waited, and you still are not declaring an emergency? Why is that, Governor DeWine? We want to know. And if you are not able to answer that question because of your conflict of interest, if you are unable to discharge your duties as the governor of this state to the people of East Palestine, then you need to resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign.
I mean, it is insane how in America you can bribe someone as long as the manila envelope is on the table instead of under.
Right, like as long as it's
that
they
alone
basically
is so discrediting to everything. Everything's a conflict of interest at that
the
point.
idea of lobbying is kind of insane. Like the fact that it's allowed.
Political donations.
Yeah.
DeWine must resign.
Like corporate political donations is an outrage.
DeWine must
Yeah.
resign. DeWine must resign.
Yes.
DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine must resign. DeWine
And
must
and
resign.
it's something that it's talked about in such a matter of fact way.
DeWine must resign.
Okay, yeah. So this stream is going. This stream is working well on TRS. The back end, it's hard to get numbers because it's like back end interface isn't loading, but the stream is going fine. But yeah, it's hard to get. The idea that like they just do this and the lobbying industry at all is atrocious. Like the fact that it's even legal, it should just be illegal.
Why doesn't DeWine come out and talk to the picketers?
Yeah, why does he come out
Why-
and actually discuss it or have a representative come out? They're not going to send anybody out. They're not going to send an aide out. They're not going to send a staffer out.
Because no emergency has been declared. People, soil, animals are poisoned. No emergency declaration because Governor DeWine is putting profits over people, the profits of Norfolk Southern. This is a pathetic excuse for governance. We are letting railroad lobbyists determine the policy of the state government of Ohio.
Yeah.
The people in that town, some of them can't afford to leave. Some of them can't afford to get proper medical care. Some of them can't afford to sell their homes. What are their homes going to be worth after this? This was dumped on them.
There you go.
No
Good luck selling a
Yeah,
house in
that's
East
another
Palestine.
problem.
If you had that as a little nest egg for yourself, as a,
You have a mortgage?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, $93 million.
well, everyone's mortgage is effectively underwater because their property values are worth nothing. Are they going to still have to pay those homes off?
For the people
Right.
of East Palestine to relocate them while their town is made safe again?
If you have FEMA come in, they'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
They'll literally pay to move you.
Yep.
And as I said, it's been like pulling teeth to get the government to respond at all to the needs of those people. Now it's become a political issue. Now we have Donald Trump visiting, we have Pete Buttigieg visiting, we have Tulsi Gabbard visiting, and all sorts of other politicians. But you, Governor DeWine, are the one. It's your responsibility
That's right.
to care for those people.
He has
You
the
are
ability
governor
with the
this
stroke
state,
of the pen
so
to do
is
it.
your responsibility to declare a state of emergency and to bring in FEMA, full stop, to bring in all the federal help you can. You are the one responsible for that. These people need your help, and you are not doing it. And the reason is, we can only assume, is because of your close ties to Norfolk Southern. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of dark money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of campaign expenses paid. Your inaugural ball paid. Your daughter's campaign for Greene County prosecutor paid for, bankrolled by Norfolk Southern. What is going on here? You need to answer for this. You need to tell us what is the relationship between the governor's office and Norfolk Southern.
Just tell them what is going on.
You have not declared a state of emergency.
What
There can be no
is
good
going
reason
on?
for it. If this disaster happened anywhere near the governor's mansion in Columbus, in the neighborhood of Bexley, we know the response would be different. Come on, we know.
Hey, if
the
it happened in a
response
poor
would be
black
different.
neighborhood, it's
We
not
know
purely
people would
class.
be
It's also a
being
race issue.
evacuated,
Yeah.
And it would all be paid for by the government, and they would be getting all the help
They need to mention,
And probably
why did he
Norfolk
declare
Southern
racism a public health emergency
Yeah, I
and not
sent
a
him.
public health emergency as a public health emergency?
Norfolk Southern, Governor. Do you care about the people of East Palestine? You keep going on Fox News talking about have they have concerns. You understand they have concerns. Yes, hell yes, they have concerns. Their town has been poisoned. Their children have been poisoned. 40,000 dead fish washing up in the water, and you're saying that the water is clean?
Yeah, I sent a message, so maybe
Why
it'll
this
get
lack
through.
of
We got
response,
a little
Governor?
chain of communication here, so
You need to
we'll see.
either help these people out, declare a state of emergency, or you need to resign. Justice for East Palestine.
Justice for East Palestine! 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 Justice for East Palestine!
Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine. Justice
Palestine. Justice for East 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 Palestine.
Yeah, I don't think anyone from the DeWine mansion is going to be coming out. No staffers, no relatives, no governor, no nothing. Time was, they would at least do that. But he's not going to, and he's definitely there. He's there. That's the house where Mike DeWine is right now. That's where.
We want to know also, like I said, what is the relationship between Dan McCarthy? Dan McCarthy, Governor, he was your legislative director for years. He was the president of Norfolk Southern's Ohio lobbying firm. The Success
Here's the
Group.
message being delivered. Tony's telling him.
What is your relationship with him? Where is he right now? Have you been talking with him about this? Has he been consulting with you on how to manage this? Has he been telling you not to declare a state of emergency because it would reflect badly on Norfolk Southern? Maybe it would blow the deal that Norfolk Southern has with the city of Cincinnati, where they're trying to buy out their public railroad. That deal is rotten. That deal needs to go. But they don't want that deal to go, so maybe this lobbyist is talking to you about that. Maybe he's in his house right now having dinner, discussing it. We need to know what's going on with this, Governor. Do your duty. Do your job. 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 Do your job.
This is excellent. I think Tony's telling him. About the
Someone just
racism.
reminded me that 2 years ago, Governor DeWine said that racism was a public health crisis. Just yesterday, Governor DeWine marked the anniversary of the start of the Ukraine war, and we were just at the governor's mansion in Columbus, and there's a huge Ukrainian flag hanging up. While our President Joe Biden is over there in Ukraine.
Hanging up in the place where the Buckeye flag used to hang.
$4 billion.
Sacrilege.
That phony war going.
I mean, look,
Those poor
you would think,
Ukrainians in the
right?
meat grinder
But
to
it's
serve
symbolic,
somebody
right?
else's geopolitical interests. Ukrainian flag saying racism is a public health crisis when the people in East Palestine have a public health crisis. They have a public health crisis, Governor.
Okay, here we got something
The
going
town
on.
has been poisoned.
Uh-oh.
We need to get justice for those people.
Who is
We need
this?
to get
What do we
a
got?
emergency declared.
Oh, boy.
This cops? What do we got? We got Secret Service? State agents?
They're not. They're legally within their rights.
Yeah,
so.
it looks like Alan's talking to him. They'll probably say, you guys are going to leave soon, right? Something like that.
Qualifies as a public health crisis. If we can give all that money to Ukraine and we can ban the sale of Russian vodka in Ohio,
Alan seems like he's got it in hand.
Ban Norfolk Southern from buying out Cincinnati's public railway. Justice for East Palestine.
Justice for East Palestine! Justice for East Palestine! Justice for East Palestine!
Yep, there they go. See ya.
Justice for East Palestine! Justice for East Palestine!
See ya.
Justice for East Palestine.
They're not going to do
Justice
shit.
for East Palestine. Justice
It's
for
legal what they're doing.
Justice for East
Not only are they well within their rights, they have the moral high ground.
They have the moral high ground. That's
That is what matters more than legal stuff.
yeah. The
You don't have the
legality.
moral high ground, but you're doing something legal, they'll arrest you, wrap you up, whatever. But if you have a very clear, popular message
Yeah.
with a moral high ground, they will shy away. They will,
Yeah, they're not. I knew they wouldn't. I mean, it's not surprising they pulled up to ask a question, but like,
Right,
they're not going
right.
to do anything because like, it would look like shit. One, it is legal what they're doing, but that's not the only important thing. The more important thing is that this is an issue, that this would make this a bigger issue.
Right.
If they arrested all of them, this would be in the
Would be
press.
a
It would be a huge
tactical
thing.
blunder.
It would look really bad for DeWine. He's just like, yeah.
Trying to call the meeting to order, and one of our guys handed him this very bullhorn so that he could have a normal town hall meeting. Norfolk Southern said they would be there at that town hall and they then reneged on that. They said that they felt unsafe, so they didn't come to the town hall, and instead of having a town hall, they changed the format at the last minute so that it was a series of tables and booths like at a job fair where the people who have concerns could go around from table to table.
Deep concerns.
And talk to individuals who would tell them, oh yeah, give me your phone number and I'll call you back later.
Ah.
Don't call me, I'll call you. That's not justice. That was not right. And the mayor, to his credit, he did the right thing. He called a normal town hall meeting. And at that meeting, a National Justice Party representative was talking to Congressman Bill Johnson, confronted him over the lack of a FEMA response. He said we should talk to the governor. We should ask the governor
So
why
we
there's
did.
no FEMA response. And then he said that FEMA shouldn't get involved. But then the next day, after that video went viral on Twitter, before it was pulled down because of Twitter censorship, after that video went viral, Bill Johnson reversed his position and was calling for FEMA assistance. As soon as that video went viral, J.D. Vance came to East Palestine, then Donald Trump announced he was coming. But Congressman Bill Johnson made a very good point. We need to ask the governor, why no FEMA emergency? Why no declaration of emergency? So we're here now asking you, Governor, why did you not declare a state of emergency? Why have you waited weeks and weeks while these people are dealing with this lackluster, confused, almost deliberately negligent response? I mean, how else are we supposed to conclude that it is deliberate negligence, that you are deliberately neglecting their needs because you're in there talking to Norfolk Southern lobbyists who are advising you not to do that, who are setting the policy of the government of Ohio? That is not right. Norfolk Southern has to go. DeWine has to go if you're not willing to stand up to them. DeWine must resign. 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 DeWine must resign.
Kind of curious what the interaction with that that state
It was
vehicle
probably, when are you guys leaving?
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Probably like it probably was like
Beautiful house. This is a beautiful landscape. This is a very beautiful place, and it must be nice when you're done with the tired business in Columbus of dealing with all these annoying complaints and questions from the people of East Palestine, from the media. It must be nice to be able to get out of town on a Saturday night, come out to your country mansion in this beautiful location and have a nice dinner and just relax and unwind. Because you don't have to worry about it. You can kick back way out in the country, far away from Columbus, and just relax and enjoy a good meal.
Yeah, now I'm getting hungry
you know
myself.
What? The people of East Palestine, they don't have mansions in the country that they can go to. They don't have mansions like this that they can just retire to when things get too tough in East Palestine. Some of them don't even have savings in their account. They're living paycheck to paycheck, people on fixed incomes. So think of their Saturday night. This is your Saturday night. You're out here in this beautiful place having dinner. But they are over there wondering every time they turn on the tap if the water is going to give them cancer. The EPA is saying it's safe. The EPA has been wrong. Many times the government has been wrong or has lied about water being safe. We saw it in Flint, Michigan, and many other places. So while you're out here in this beautiful place having a nice relaxing dinner, forgetting the cares of the world, they are there in their homes. They are stuck. They cannot leave. And they still don't know what help they're getting. They know that politicians are coming to their town to do photo ops and to try to use it to score cheap political points against their opponents, but they don't know what actual help they're getting. It's not clear what FEMA is even going to do for them, and it's limited what FEMA can do because no emergency declaration has been made by the governor. So
once it's declared, all the millions come in. Everything.
Why would DeWine ask for FEMA without the declaration? Is the question, because he did ask for FEMA in that letter.
Optics.
Right.
Optics.
Republicans are the masters of looking like you're doing something while doing nothing.
Right.
They don't know what to do. They don't know if they'll be able to sell their
It's to make it look, because a lot of people don't understand how it works. So they think, oh, he asked for it. He doesn't have to ask. He can demand it. He can legally mandate it.
The governor has the power to do it.
Nice relaxing
Yeah.
dinner here.
And Bill Johnson saying, oh, that's the governor's problem. Well, he was on that letter the next day, so clearly he can do, maybe
Right,
not
so
declare
the
an
idea that
emergency, but he could go to Washington and ask for
He
it.
can put
That's
pressure.
what a representative is.
He can apply pressure. He can do
Right.
that, and
He can
and
put his name to a letter, which is exactly what we wanted him to do.
Right.
Put your name to a letter asking for federal resources. That's what a U.S. representative does. Right? You go to Washington and get federal resources for your constituents. You have no other job. Your job isn't to fund Israel.
Right.
It's not to declare racism a national emergency. No, it's to get federal resources for
Not to
people
worry
in your
about
town.
Ukraine or Iron Dome or any of that shit. It's for your own people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dunk DeWine. Is that what they're saying?
Dump.
Oh, dump. Okay, well, either one. Yeah, and this guy DeWine is from the old school of the Republican Party. He's a Bush Republican. He's a Dole Republican.
Yeah.
He's just a big business shill. Nothing else.
He's a blackmailed gay man. Oh, I mean, a big business show. That's right.
Well, 6 to 1, half a dozen ill. You know what I'm saying? You say tomato, I say tomato.
Oh, Duncan. Oh man, starving.
Dude. I'm starting to get hungry. We've been sitting here all afternoon. But yeah, dude, they actually know they got lunch.
Good stuff, man. They deserve it. They've earned it.
They're having a rotten evening tonight. It's been a lousy couple of weeks for them. We ask that you think about that, Governor. Those are your constituents. Norfolk Southern's shareholders, they are not your constituents. The stockholders of that company, Norfolk Southern, they are not the people who you are elected to serve.
That's right.
You have not taken an oath to Norfolk Southern. In case we need to remind you, you have taken an oath to the Constitution, to the people of this country, to the people of Ohio, to defend their interests, to look out for them. And you're not doing it. And they know you're not doing it. All you got to do is go on any one of your tweets, Governor. We know your staffers are writing them for you. What we ask, click on your Twitter account, get your staffers to give you the password so you can log in, and go on there and look at all the tweets that you have made about FEMA and about East Palestine, and then look at the responses of the people. Everyone is saying the same thing. Why did it take so long? Why are you not getting them the help that they need? Why did you say at that press conference on February 14th, why did you say that President Biden called you
And you didn't call him back.
You said that you would call him if you were seeing a problem to get federal assistance in, but you said you're not seeing it. Think of that. Think of those people. They have had a lousy February. They are worried. They don't know what the results of this are going to be, what the effects are going to be, the long-term effects on themselves and their children. Imagine that, Governor. Imagine if there was right here, less than a mile away, a chemical spill like that. And this beautiful old historic mansion. Imagine if there was a black cloud of that chemical. You signed off on that, Governor. You signed off on that black chemical cloud bathing their whole town in toxins, soaking into the soil and the water in the houses. You signed off on that. So picture if that black cloud was over here, how you would be feeling tonight. You're cooking your dinner, you don't know if you're going to get cancer from it, or you're going to get sick, or your kids or your grandkids are going to get sick. That is the position these people are in. All it's going to take is a little backbone. Stand up to Norfolk Southern. Stand up to them. Do your duty. Bring in FEMA, declare a state of emergency, and give back the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have taken from Norfolk Southern. They paid for your inauguration. They paid for your daughter's campaign to become the Greene County prosecutor. They've given you hundreds of thousands of dollars in dark money for your campaigns. Return the money. Send the money back. DeWine must resign. 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 DeWine must resign.
So yeah, I don't really have. There was a whole bunch of opposition research on DeWine that was done, but picked out the main points to not make it like overly complicated. Like Jazz Hands actually came up with like a 4-page document of opposition research on this guy, and we just picked they picked and chose like the most juicy bits because it's like there's only so much that anybody could absorb at one point. But yeah. But believe me, this guy is a corporate show, and it's not just Norfolk Southern. There's other companies as well, but generally speaking, it's also just the general attitude in the country. I mean, we see the political show. We see the butt gig owns Trump. Trump owns butt gig. They go back and forth, but nobody's talking about solutions.
Trump goes, buys some people McDonald's, dips. Oh, gives them some Trump water.
Right, but the thing is that he at least doesn't even have any power, though.
Right.
Like Pete Buttigieg is saying Trump needs to back deregulation. Why?
Right.
Why? He's just a citizen.
Right.
He doesn't need to. What do you need him for? Just do it yourself.
Well, you'll notice that whenever Republicans repeal a regulation, Democrats never restore it.
They're not bursting out of the gate. Now they'll be happy to obfuscate and shift blame, and they're trying to bait, and it's working. They're baiting like liberals into basically making the thing like, okay, so you idiots voted a deregulating Republican, and therefore you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
It's something liberals would have been ashamed to do. A few, 20 years ago, liberals would have been ashamed.
I think actually some of them are a little ashamed of it.
Yes,
but
there
are
are
some that are still.
They're so into the Finkel thing.
It's the MSNBC crowd. The CNN crowd has moderated a little bit, but the MSNBC crowd, they're out. They're feral. They're feral. They're out for blood.
Yeah. They just like the idea of these people choking on chemicals. They just like it. They just think it's funny.
Yeah.
They just think it's funny. So yeah, I mean, and the political circus is not helping these people. There's actually even mainstream commentary has come out and said that like the photo ops and the shot taking is not actually, no one's actually doing anything.
Well, the problem is when something becomes a Dems versus Republicans partisan issue,
that's the whole point.
It will never get fixed.
Right. The point of the Dems versus Republicans partisan issues.
That's why the Democrats don't allow Ilhan Omar to polarize like that on Israel. Because if tomorrow becoming pro-Israel becomes a Dems versus R thing, then aid to Israel will never manifest itself. It'll never materialize.
Right.
So the stuff they care about, like the Ukraine.
Oh, there was a glow nigger just right there going by in that car for sure. It was all tinted.
Wait, what?
Oh, it was just another security car passed them by.
They can go around all they want.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to intimidate them. They want them to go away.
Yeah, they're trying to scare people.
They just want them to go away.
They're not going to
actually do
anything.
Afraid. Yeah.
They're not afraid.
No, obviously not. So yeah,
if you're doing the right thing, you have nothing to fear.
Right, that's the thing. Simple. The moral high ground gives you invincibility.
You have nothing to fear.
We experience it in Waukesha.
If you have a just cause, you have nothing to fear.
We experience it.
They're the ones that are afraid.
Yeah, they're the ones skulking around.
Right.
And this is. I've given speeches on this before. This is one of the methods to how we do activism. We always want to make sure that we pick issues where we have an unquestionable moral high ground, and therefore, enemies just wither away.
Yep.
That may have prevented this kind of disaster, which is what this is, whether you declare it as that or not. Why do you allow such unsafe transportation of these hazardous materials to happen in your state? In the state of constituents which you supposedly care about, which you gave an oath to protect and to represent. It's really, really simple. It's because we are told by your party that if we have more profits, then that will raise the quality of life of everyone in the state. And yet, we have clearly seen the opposite.
That's a good
We have
point.
clearly seen the quality of life of your constituents degrade. We have seen it be poisoned. The special interest groups that you are beholden to nakedly choose profits over people. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits. People over profits.
You know, honestly, leftists should be embarrassed too.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
they're not doing this.
They are.
They are.
They are. When
the
they,
ones
when
with
they
the
were
decent.
whining, when they were whining about me going to the town hall,
Oh yeah, they were just mad they didn't do it.
they were mad, and there's people in their comments. So Antifa was complaining about it, but people in their comments are like, "Wait, why aren't you guys doing this?"
Well, they
Like,
didn't
this is
think of
bad.
it. Antifa didn't consider it.
No.
They didn't think of going to do
It's
it.
a reactive anti-white force. It's not a
Yeah,
pro
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
It's-
they
they're
don't.
not-
They don't go.
They'll
out
even
there.
tell you it's like Antifa is a negative position. They'll say
You
it.
must resign. It is that simple. The line must resign.
We have to fill the space
Yeah.
that the cucked right and the negligent left have left for us.
Yeah,
you know?
and they've left it wide open. People were
We're
even
going
complaining
to
about
fill
that.
it.
They were complaining about that on Twitter.
Yeah.
They were saying
They
that,
have no choice. I mean, if you believe in white privilege ideology, which they all do,
Yeah.
you can't do stuff like this.
Right.
You
And
can't.
additionally, they were saying that specifically they were annoyed at the Democrats. They were saying, actually, your negligence on this. They were even one guy even came in. He blamed BlackRock. He's like, because BlackRock owns all these companies and also owns the media. Of course, he didn't make the connection there.
Right.
But like that they leave this wide open for these white nationalists to come in and do this stuff.
Yep.
Well, that's a tough thing for you to deal with.
They get a town hall where their voices are not heard. But you've heard us today outside your home. And we're not sorry for disturbing you. And it will continue.
Oh man, I love that guy.
Yeah. No, we got a budding another budding orator that we're that we're raising up to be. Yeah, this guy's great.
Do your job. 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 Do your job.
Man, I got such bad FOMO on this, dude.
Do your job.
It's not even FOMO because I just missed out. I got jealousy.
Do your job.
But yeah, I'll be at the next one. There's no way I'm missing it.
Oh no, same.
Do
Yeah.
your job. Do your job. Do your
Whatever it
job.
is, we'll figure it out. It'll be soon.
Do your job. 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 Do your job.
Okay, so I got word that they're about to wrap up. So
Do your job. Do your job.
I gotta get going soon,
Yeah.
so that's good.
we can wrap it up here.
You haven't heard the last of the National Justice Party. Tell the GOP, tell Norfolk Southern, tell the people who have betrayed the good people of East Palestine, tell them that they have not heard the last of the National Justice Party. We will be back. We are going to hold your feet to the fire until you either do your job, declare a state of emergency in East Palestine, get those people the help that they need, stop trying to cover for Norfolk Southern, return every penny that Norfolk Southern has ever given you in your entire career and your daughter, or else resign from office. Justice for East Palestine. Justice for East Palestine.
All right. So I think they're about to wrap it up after some chanting. So we're probably gonna cut the stream here. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks Stryker, and thanks to Warren. Thanks to Carson. Thanks Tony. Thanks Alan. Everybody out there, Michael. Everyone out there. Great job, everyone. Fantastic work by our guys.
Yeah.
Really wish I could have been there. This is a great action. I'm proud of everyone. Took it right to him. Took it right to the most powerful man in Ohio. Right to his front door. So there you go. So we'll see everybody. We'll be back you know, there will be video. You'll be able to watch. Obviously, you'll be able to watch these videos up on TRS in a little bit, and we might put them on Odyssey. There's going to be other video from the guy with the professional camera that was shooting that will be up from this, and so we'll see everybody later. And thanks a lot.